Indiana's strategic plan, Reaching Higher, Achieving More, has three core elements. The elements are increasing college completion, making sure that we have a more productive system of higher education, and at the same time ensuring academic quality and rigor. All of this is focused on making sure that 60% of Hoosiers have credentials and degrees beyond high school, and that 60% number is linked with the workforce needs of the 21st century. We transitioned to a performance funding formula for higher education starting in 2003. For the first couple years, we only had a metric that actually rewarded research at our colleges and universities. But over the years, we have now included many other metrics that would actually recognize what students are doing. Are they completing, and how long is it taking them to complete college? So what we concluded is that it was more important to pay for what we value than to simply pay for enrollments in college. If students enroll and never finish, then the state or the student is not receiving the benefit of a college degree. So we started paying for what we value. And we have very specific metrics, including the number of students who complete college, the number who complete on time, the number of at-risk students who complete. We look at whether or not they've been successfully remediated when they're in college. We allow the colleges and universities to come up with one of their own metrics. So over the years, we have evolved into a system of paying for college that has 7 distinct metrics that reward college and student performance. The simplest way to answer that is that a performance funding formula, or an outcomes-based formula, pays for the result that you want. It pays, in this case, for college completion rather than just enrollment in college. The state doesn't benefit either from a financial standpoint or from changing the economy of the state by simply having students enroll in college, which is the way we used to fund college. The state benefits and the individual benefits when they actually complete college, and whenever possible, when they complete on time. And so what we have seen over a period of time is we've seen the trends in the right direction. We have more students completing college, still not at the level we would like. We have more students who are focused on completing on time. We have more of our at-risk students accessing and completing college, which deals with the achievement gap. We have far too many students who access college in need of remediation. About 70% of the students who go to the community college and about 30% of all of our students who go to college actually need remediation when they begin. And so we said as a state, we will pay you more money if you can get the colleges and universities to successfully remediate their students. So we've looked at all of these different metrics and said, this is what we need as a state, and it will benefit our state's economy. It will, by the way, also increase the per capita income for Hoosiers, which ranks very low and is almost the same as college completion. We rank about 40th in the nation in both. So we really think that an outcomes-based formula will, in fact, change the state's economy and improve the life of Hoosiers. The only way we can get our colleges and universities to really believe that performance funding matters and is important is if they also believe our data are good. Our data actually are informing our decisions, and they trust the data that we use. And so we tie the data collection to the way that we actually reward our colleges and universities through performance funding. It's not just important for performance funding, it's important for everything that we do. It's hard enough to do the things that we're trying to do in higher education. We're asking for colleges and universities and students to make dramatic changes in behaviors. If they don't at least believe that the data that you're using are valid, then they're not likely to want to go along the way that you're trying to nudge them to move. So the data collection is critically important and undergirds everything we do at the Commission. When you're trying to put in place an outcome-based funding formula, it's important, first of all, that you listen to people. We've traveled the state, met with college presidents, boards of trustees, students, legislators to find out what is it that they value, what should be in a performance funding formula. So first you have to listen. And then you have to put together a formula that actually recognizes mission differentiation. And by that I mean that when you look at the community college, the demographics of their students would be very different than a highly intensive research institution. like Purdue West Lafayette or IU Bloomington. And so you need to have a formula that recognizes those differences. You also need to do this not just on a one-year period of time. You need to make sure that students have an opportunity at their colleges and universities to change their behavior over a period of time. So you're looking at cohorts of students. You need to be willing to change the formula when you recognize that there's been a weakness. At the same time, you want to build stability into the formula, so you can't change it all the time, just at whim. They have to know what it is they're working toward, and so they have to have some sense of that formula will be stable. You need, in good times or bad, to keep the formula. So even if the state doesn't give you a considerable increase in funding for higher education, you need to say, in good times or bad, performance still matters, and we're going to hold true to performance funding through all of those cycles in the economy and funding cycles. And I think at the very core, I think you need to make sure that people understand why you're doing this, that it's not a punitive action to try to catch somebody or get you, that it's basically designed because this is critically important to the state of Indiana. And if we can't make some changes, there's no way we're going to get to this big 60% goal, which means Indiana's going to be left behind. That's not a place where we want to be. And so I think creating this sense of mutual understanding of why you're doing it, buy-in from the institutions, and understanding from the students why we're asking them to do certain things too, actually plays into what we call in Indiana just shared responsibility. Everybody needs to step up and do their part.